foundation, guys with lots of bread, butter and cheese, and let's serve them. Right? And then you have task-centric. They have a problem, HR problem. Let's solve that problem. We have much bigger problems, but then that's it. So we go after that animal. Then they have then the problem is defined. Now, how the hell was it defined? The whole edifice has been built on some formulations of which nobody knows anything about. Right? And then it's all short-term. Right? And the focus, therefore, has to be only on tools and techniques. Right? And therefore the need for management professionals. Or now you have the game has slightly changed. Credit provisioning, formations such as producer companies, outsourcing, convergence. So the language we have really done considerable improvement on, but on reality, I think we have a lot to understand. I think that is not where we should be. Neither as NGOs, much less as academic institutions, and much less as publicly funded academic institutions. We should develop the state. What does developing the state means? It means aspirational, seeking new knowledge, multiple practices, validation of those practices. I see so many success stories all around. I mean, isn't there such a farcical succession of success stories that we see? Right? Right? It's okay, I can understand success stories is good business, etc. But look, it's beyond that. Interpretation. Through what eyes are you looking at an issue, understanding an issue? And then content development. Okay? Then there is, much of it is being talked about what do I teach students? Where is your content in the first place? That's why there is discontent amongst the students, hopefully. Right? Now, then what is really coming from market and economic dynamics? There's nothing at all. You can see Robert Chambers, some 30, 40, 50 years ago written Western literature, driven to third world countries to manage projects, is our state of the art of learning. Okay, that's where it is. Okay, but developing the state would require dynamics. It needs us to be street smart, right? Right? You can't be savvy sitting in all these fancy places. And research, experimenting and innovating. Right? I think there is a very big difference between serving the state and developing the state. I think we are becoming lackeys by serving the state. The least we can do is to develop the state. I don't expect you to transform society. I quite realize that's not our agenda. But we can certainly provide the knowledge inputs to transform society. Here it's no longer the state. I've moved from state to society. So to redefine goals, right? Challenges, ideas, narrative. What is the narrative? Power shift, democracy, societal philosophies, etc. I think that's really the essence of the humankind. I think that's what is the aspirational dimension, which all of us struggle in our own ways. So we need a combination. I'm not saying 1, 2 or 3, but I'm saying guys don't get stuck on one. Right? It will end up like we ended up as NGOs, as chattels of either governments or international donors. That's what academic institutions unfortunately will end up. Let me tell you, today you are all born happy with Mr. Vijay Kumar. That relationship is not going to last longer. Right? Ford Foundation has already walked out. So please, the government is the only sensible things to do. I think we should understand all this. Okay? So a combination of the three. So you be agile. You do the third one to improve societal things, syndicate with such understanding. You do the second one with activists, etc., etc. And the first one you do for your damn bread. Okay? Right? That's all. Now there is another problem that we have. All of you give certification. The only reason people come to you is because you have certificates, man. And you've got a Government of India stamp. Please, और कुछ भी नहीं है ना. The problem is, if you look at AICTE, the rules that they have, the institutional rules you have within your institution, do you think innovation in learning at all is possible? I know you can add IT, because that's the fancy thing. Right? We have nothing beyond that. So there is no really innovation in content. There is only in form and pedagogy and possibly a better choice of English that we are doing these days. Next. 1 minute ho gaya. Next. Okay. Now look, this is the paradigm. Now where is our knowledge base? The organized sector. I'm saying this vis-a-vis the larger economy as well. Who is your client? NRLM, SRLM, total bureaucracies, right? CSR, yesterday come good fellows, donors, they are all dependent, their own public has ditched them, they all depend on their governments, you know how all that is happening in Europe and North America. Mainstream NGOs, thanks, we have some good mainstream NGOs, that's all about it, but they're mainstream about it. They can do efficient development work, effective development work, but they did not change the lingua franca of development. Okay? And then, so all these are guys with money. And money guys are telling me they have scale. Come on guys, you have money, you have size, you don't have scale. Scale is below. It's unorganized. There are trade unions, there are political cadre. Let me tell you, the biggest development factor is political cadre. We work closely with them, right? Unorganized workers, petty hawkers, etc., etc. I mean, none of them touch your radar screen at all. The informal economy is 94% of the economy, and that doesn't matter. You guys are sleeping in only 6%, or even in this 6%, maybe 4%. I mean, I think if your knowledge base doesn't come from real life, what kind of the organized sector help you're going to do, except sort of some first aid and some window dressing, and therefore some success stories, and all that we have to keep the world going, right? So these are the guys who drive the economy. These are the people who can factor in inclusive growth. And that is what we are all seeking towards, because global inequality is coming, etc., etc. So that's, I think we are getting our knowledge, understanding itself, even from practice, from a very wrong segment. And we are sort of saying that that's it. Whereas we have neglected this, and therefore you have no teeth. Right? You have tongue, but no teeth. Teeth is required to bite, because life is struggle. Life is not straight walk. Okay, go ahead, sir. First slide, go ahead. Now, I am a management graduate, so 4 P's, bhai, kya karega? Okay, what is performance? Yes. Performance, efficiency, performance you guys do, but you deliver on performance, right? There's no doubt on that. BRLP has moved much faster, etc., etc. Efficiency, faster, quicker. Institutions, okay, they got it by whatever institutions they have. Although they have never talked about the relationship between structure and strategy. Very important OE principle. IT tools, that has come in very, very well. What are we ending up doing? What is the world moving towards? Idiot proofing. Make something that nobody can make a mistake on. So we have management graduates who are idiot proofed. Bolo, char kaam karo, khatam ho gayi, baat ho gayi. This is what is happening. And what is practice? Practice brings in effectiveness, it brings in deepening, it brings in dynamics, right? And it brings discovery, right? So we have no answers, but there is a quest. That's what the practice is all about. Perspectives, this is very important. This calls for research, challenging, calls for counterintuitive thinking, knowledge synergies, and not all multidisciplinary, please. Freedom, please remember the quest of mankind has always been on that. The French Revolution or the Indian Revolution, all been aspiring for those things. People are only asking for equality and justice. They are not asking for your arms and your projects. That's your problem. You have the bread and therefore you want to do those things. But what they are asking for is, let's have a level playing field. They are willing to compete because they have the cudgels to compete. Okay, public policies. Communicating and debating and influencing. I mean, I'm quite amazed that there's no way in which public policy is not on NRLM. That's a very small part of the game. General public policies, what is the kind of inputs that the academy or the educational institutions are providing? Zilch, right? So there's new ways of measuring. The whole issue is, you call this efficient. On what basis is it measured? How is it measured? There are all questions of that. And then paradigm-driven frameworks that we saw. Huh? We still have a USAID framework, DFI, colonialism is gone, but not amongst the academic institutions. I really appreciate, because we have colonials in our own head. We got to unshackle ourselves. So my point is this: richness of 1 and 2, performance and practice, can be strengthened by management sciences and management disciplines. Yes, but and therefore it can be corporate, it will be system-centric. You can see the language. This system, that system, that system. Will virtually make a person a prisoner rather than free the person. That's what it does. But 3 and 4 is a domain which I think requires social sciences. The Lagardeness of social sciences. The inadequacy of social sciences, I think, is the biggest problem. And we have abdicated that. We moved into easier terrain, management language, nice and sexy, and we are adding, going ahead. So that can correct the framework, check this kind of unabated capitalism. It can check, develop and deepen. So I think it's very important that when you're thinking of it, look at the content from the kind of perspective. So is the last slide. They have a thought process. And I met Father Bogart when I started my development work at. Okay. Now what is the global literature telling us? Every poor is poor and vulnerable in their own way. But you've got standard operating systems. Right? Everything is fixed, preferably in Delhi, etc., etc. So virtually development has become like a computerized program. And you think you can deliver? Right? That's my first point. Now, this thing is. Now, I think when I was teaching management, we used to talk about consumer as, consumer at the heart. Keep the consumer at the heart. Why? Because we want to fleece the guy of his money. But I think what is important is that we need to understand that it is our heart that serves that people. He was asking us something. Because I think that's where the thing comes in. It's not good quality people, good profession, etc., etc. But how do people get the joy of enjoying development work, of creating new in development management or development planning? So what insights and inspiration to the professional livelihood is not ladders. It's not like saying what is your stepping stone. Because let me tell you, complaint to you, I did some stint in teaching development languages here, courses here. Students are finding themselves very suffocated.
But I will try to do justice to what exactly